confidence, like here's a couple ideas for your techniques. If you want to build confidence with your techniques, number one would be obviously getting some reps in. Obviously, when you're doing the reps, you're not arbitrarily trying to get like a bazillion reps or 1,000 or something, but which can be a good thing. But you're trying to get better with that movement, making it more smooth, making it more effortless, making it more automatic where you don't have to think about all the steps and you can just pull the trigger, right? That gives you a confidence with the move because you know it pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then from there, one of the most important things for confidence is to roll with people that are not as good as you and try stuff out, right? That's like, I didn't understand this concept for a long time. When I was a purple belt, up to purple belt, I was always just trying to smash people. And then my coach just told me, like, listen, you got to, like, before they gave me my brown belt, they were like, you have to start playing different moves. And so I started doing that. And it only got more and more at black belt, where as a black belt, when I was first coaching, I didn't have any other black belts to train with. All my training partners, for the most part, except for with a couple exceptions, were mostly blue belts, white belts, and blue belts. So, like, well, how do you get better with that? Well, you basically get active reps and you try stuff out on them and you do moves on them. And because they're not all that good, they're good enough to resist some stuff. And if you completely screw it up, they're not going to they won't work. But if you do it pretty well, you're going to hit it on them. And if you fail, they're not good enough to like really make you pay. Right. And so again, that gives you a lot of confidence. It's almost like a trapeze artist, like who has a safety net. Right, the trapeze artist there's no way you could become an expert trapeze artist, right, where you're doing all this crazy stuff, or tightrope walker, if you didn't have a safety net to train under. Now later on, you can take that safety net away when you do your big performance, but when you're learning, you're going to fall. You just know. So you have to have a bit of a safety net. If you're always, again, early on, you're always rolling without that because you're getting smashed afterwards every time you screw something up. But later on, after you get a little bit better, you want to roll with those people that aren't as good as you, and you want to do it very intentionally, because you can basically bust them up and like give yourself a little pat on the back and be like, "Oh, it was awesome today," mm-hmm. right? But you could go in there and say, "I'm going to work on something against these people. I'm going to start developing a different type of my game," or even if you're going to use one of your A game moves, play with that particular move over and over and over again to try to get some reps with it. That's active repetitions, and that'll build confidence in that movement because you've hit it so many times during rolling that then when it comes time to do it in a competition, there's no question. You know it can work. You've mm-hmm. done it so many times it can work. And so it's important rather than just going in there and just seeing what happens or flowing. Now, there's a time to do that, of course, but if you're thinking competition-wise, if you're getting ready for a competition, it should all be about hitting those moves against someone and being very intentional about it. And so that's a really important way to develop the confidence with the technique, because then, again, you can go with it without thinking about, man, if I mess this up, they're gonna hurt me real bad, right? You're like, if this friggin' blue belt passes my guard, if this white belt passes my guard, I'll be all right. I'll be able to escape. They're not gonna smash me too bad. And if you're a new white belt listening to this, because I know we always get some newer people, one of the things you can do is sort of set little mini goals for yourself and work on survival. So, for instance, check this out. Here are a couple things that I did as a white belt that helped me out. One, when I was trying to learn how to play guard, which I did not want to do as a wrestler, my goal was not actually to sweep anyone. It was just to hold guard. I would open my guard and kind of go for stuff, and I would reclose it back in again. Open it, close it, open it, close it. And the more I did that, the more I could control the person without losing the guard or losing the position, the more comfortable I felt to go for things. Because if I knew I could go for a submission, and if it failed, I could always relock my guard, well, then I started to get to where there was no longer hesitancy. I could just really go for that armbar 100%, and if it didn't work, I'd always get back to my guard. Mm-hmm. That gave me confidence, right? And then from there, like, again, the longer they were inside my guard, the more opportunities I had to play with. From the bottom of positions like side control and mount, a lot of times I wasn't even trying to escape at a certain point because I'd be rolling against a blue belt or a purple belt or a white belt that just had more experience than me. And so I wouldn't even try to escape at a certain point because I knew I wasn't gonna. I'd be like, I'm gonna get smashed. So what I would do is I would just ball up, stay tight, see how long I could last. I'd look up at the clock. All right, like I've got 2 minutes. Can I hang out for 2 minutes? And just see what I could do. And I found that a lot of times if I just balled up and took my time and breathed, I could hang on for a long time, longer than I thought normally, because I wasn't pushing in weird places and trying to overextend myself. And then on top, what I would do a lot of times is I would simply just try to sit in someone's guard.
Yeah.
I would try to break it, But if I found that I was getting into a weird spot, I would just get back to covering and be kind of boring and stalling a little bit just to get used to being able to hold the darn position without getting swept. And the longer I could do that, the more confident I got about being in those positions. And I could, was able to do things. And so, that's what I did as a white belt on just surviving, which is simply just forgetting about actually being successful with any of the things that you want to be successful with. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive. Basically, I have no expectation for myself. I was like, I'm getting crushed.
Yeah.
I'm getting crushed today. It's happening, right? Be okay with that. I accepted it. And I was like, okay, I'm getting crushed today. Let's just see if I can slow the crushing down a little bit. Yesterday I got submitted 6 times by this person during a round. Let's see if we can make it 5 today. Last week when I was rolling with this dude, he passed my guard 4 times during a round. Let's see if we can make it 2.
Yep.
And then slowly as you get better at surviving and you become more relaxed, you're able to do a lot more because you're able to then recognize things. And the longer you can hold out, the more successful you can be.
Yeah.